An act of terror, the city of Boston and the whole nation shaken by twin blasts at the Boston Marathon. Good morning and welcome to a special TigerCast News, Terror in Boston. I'm Daniel Wetter.
And I'm Megan Julin.
We start this morning with the latest news from Boston. As of Tuesday, 3 people have been killed by the bombings, with 176 injured and in local hospitals. Of those injured, 17 people are in critical condition. At this point, no suspects have been arrested. This all happened at the Boston Marathon, which is the world's oldest annual marathon. Starting in 1897, the blast occurred a little past 4 hours into Monday's race. Take a look. You can't help but get chills when you see that video. That video captured by a reporter for the Boston Globe. As you saw there, the blasts happened about 12 seconds apart from each other right at the finish line where spectators were watching. We're hearing that one of the victims was an 8-year-old boy. Massachusetts Governor Deval Patrick spoke after the bombings, saying Boston won't be the same over the next few weeks.
There will be a heightened law enforcement presence consistent with the severity and seriousness of the ongoing investigation. People should expect those who are riding the T, that there will be random checks of backpacks and other parcels. And we just ask everyone to be patient with that inconvenience for the time being. It is for the public's safety.
The larger scope of this is, of course, that this is being called a terrorist attack, a phrase that really hasn't been used since September 11th. President Barack Obama addressed the nation yesterday following the attacks, vowing to go after those responsible.
We will find whoever harmed our citizens, and we will bring them to justice. We also know this: the American people refuse to be terrorized.
Now we go to Megan for more on the reaction from students and teachers.
Yes, Daniel. We spoke to students and teachers about the bombings to see what they thought about it.
The explosions were heard around the world, and even right here at Roseville High School.
Senseless. It's sad, and it's tragic.
We spoke with multiple students around campus who all said one thing.
I think it's a horrible tragedy whenever defensive civilians are harmed.
I think it's a terrible tragedy.
I think it's really sad, and it's a tragedy that happened.
Junior Grayson Leach told us he wants the U.S. to make sure this doesn't happen again.
And I believe that we need to invest time and resources into stopping such an act of terror from happening again.
But another student saw the attacks from a different angle.
Even though it happens everywhere else in the world, I'm just wondering, why don't we care about that?
Teacher Josh Erickhart has a perspective on the attacks that most don't. He actually ran in the Boston Marathon in 2010.
And I can remember just running down that same street. I hugged my wife maybe 100 yards before the spot where the bomb was, and that's just that's the scary thought. It's an emotional thing that comes over you when you realize that could have happened at any time, in any race.
Some of his family was there this year and made it to the finish line just in time.
But they all felt it, they all heard it, they all saw it, and I talked to them continually yesterday, just making sure they were safe mostly.
And while it is a tragedy, we spoke to one student who pointed to a silver lining.
If you look at all the tapes and everything that they've shown, and all the people that didn't just run away, they actually came back and helped each other out, I think that was awesome, and it kind of shows that America's not like a bad place or anything. There are people that are still willing to help.
We'll go back to Daniel now for a different perspective on these attacks.
Thanks, Megan. I got the opportunity to talk to a Pleasant Grove high school girl who actually ran in the Boston Marathon on Monday, and today she's just thankful to be alive after her first marathon.
Imagine being there. A lot of people can't, but Hannah Schmidt doesn't have to imagine.
I had crossed the finish line maybe 1 or 2 minutes after or before the actual explosion, so I finished and I was just kind of searching around trying to get a big bang, and so everyone around me got dead silent and just completely stared, and I saw this huge puff of smoke going off behind me.
The senior from Pleasant Grove High School turned 18 just days before the Boston Marathon, meaning she can compete. But no training could prepare her for what happened in Boston.
It was very, very hectic and chaotic, and I didn't know how to react. No one else really knew how to react either.
Just minutes before, though, she was contemplating giving up the marathon altogether.
So I wasn't feeling very well the whole time, and near the end I just really wanted to kind of give up and walk or take a break or something.
But then, Something told her to keep going. She finished moments before the bombs were detonated.
If I had taken a break, if I had walked for just a little bit longer, I could have been caught right there.
And today, she's happy she didn't give up a marathon that quite literally could have killed her.
Right when it happened, I really thought about the fact that that could have been it. You know, there could have been more bombs. I could have been hit. My family could have been hit. Someone I loved could have been. And so, just in that moment, I really realized, you know, like how many people I love.
And we're so glad that Hannah is alive to tell her story. We wish her the best, and hopefully she'll compete in many more marathons.
And that wraps up our special TigerCast for today.
We want to thank you for joining our special TigerCast News today, and we also want to give a special thanks to Fox 40 for letting us use a lot of that video. We'll end the show now with pictures from Boston.